well. So just a little recap of what we're doing on which day. So today I am focusing mostly on symptoms like perimenopausal symptoms, joint pain, stiffness, gut disorders. Low energy is usually top of the list, but it could be anything in the way of symptoms. And that can actually include chronic symptoms as well. So the more indicators of long-term health issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, those kinds of things. So we'll talk about all those things today. And then tomorrow, for anybody who wants to come again tomorrow or bring a friend tomorrow, we're focusing more and it's more aimed at the people who are just fed up of dieting. You know, they've been carrying some extra weight, whether that's since perimenopause or whether that's for decades, like it was for me, you know, ever since I was a teenager. But we're focusing on the idea of ditching dieting once and for all and just learning how to eat in a way that helps the body release the weight. And most of you know by now that I've got a 90-day program that does exactly that. And Angela is here as a glowing example of what is possible. And Angela, for anybody that stays till the end, I will ask Angela, if you're still here, lovely, to, you know, have a little chat about your results. But for the next sort of 45 minutes, what I'm going to do is give you a bit of background into why it is that I'm here talking about symptoms, weight loss, and then on Thursday, food relationship. Because yes, it's about knowing how to eat in a way that supports your body so much that the body will start to heal those symptoms, regardless of what they are. Pretty much everything improves when you start to eat in the way that our bodies were designed to eat. And it's a way that most people aren't talking about. It's a way of eating that is quite unique to the program that I coach. And when you've tried it, oh, somebody else is coming in.
Sorry, it's my daughter.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, everybody's welcome. I'm just letting a few people in. Well, let's see now. We've got Nantamba. Hi, Nantamba. Welcome. Lovely to have you with us. Do feel free to pop on the camera. Oh, hello. It's David. It's David, is it? One of my followers. Lovely to see you, David. Do feel free to jump in. So let's just have a little recap. So we're talking about food relationship on Thursday. Now, it's so important that we get the food relationship right, because I could give you all a long list of here's what to eat, here's what not to eat. And just knowing is not enough. Okay, so just knowing that this is the right way of eating, your body will love this, your symptoms will ease, your weight will release, isn't enough, because it's so much about the motivation that you need, the mindset you need, breaking into those habits, the trained behaviors, those programmed neural pathways. And so it's so important to address that at the core, whilst also guiding you through, well, here's how we're eating. So we need to cover all three aspects of this. Mary Waring is coming in as well. So should we have a little quick introduction? See who's here, who's in the room. Who would like to introduce themselves just very quickly? Mary, I see you there. Welcome. And we're just about to kick off. I'm just going to invite a few introductions while I go and get my slides ready. Would anybody like to say why they're here, or how they found me, and what it is for you? What is it, you know, what is concerning you about your health and well-being at the moment?
I don't mind going.
Yeah, please do, Melinda.
Hi everyone. So I discovered Sue in a mutual group, a course that we were on, and I loved her pink hair. And I was just drawn to her because of the way she was teaching, and I listened or joined one of her series back in, I don't know, February, January time, I think it was. And it wasn't the right time at that time for me, but I was definitely interested to hear more. And when this came up, I thought I'd definitely join in. I've also found out I've got high blood pressure this summer,
Yeah.
and some high cholesterol. So I'm looking to kind of sort that out in a natural way.
Absolutely. And you're in the right place, because high blood pressure is absolutely one of the things that we find, lo and behold, is absolutely related to the way we eat very often. And making some changes, simple changes sometimes, to the way we eat can make a dramatic improvement. I've had lots and lots of success with high blood pressure. So that's one of the things that's top of the list. So welcome. Would anyone else like to share why they're here or what they're hoping to learn from today?
Um, I'm hoping to learn how to get more energy back, to feel like myself again, because the last 6 months, I've put on a stone. I've got, you've got a bulge around your stomach. When you sit down, you're uncomfortable. My
Yeah.
knees really ache, and I just think I've let myself go because I'm always putting everybody else first as well. That makes sense. And I don't like what I see in the mirror anymore. It's not me. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, Davinder. I hear it such a lot, and the aches and the pains, they creep on as we get older, but we sometimes put it down to aging and we think we've just got to put up with it. Well, you don't have to just put up with it. And
It's more the weight, not being able to get into clothes that I used to wear, that's upsetting me, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
absolutely. And what have you tried so far that's either worked or not worked for you?
I tried couch to 5K. I've tried doing aerobics, but then something in life happens, which I nearly finished couch to 5K last year, and then something happened to my husband, and it's like, and then something with my daughter, and it just overrides everything. Can you just shut yourself down to deal with them, if that makes sense? And you just don't get back into it. And since that, I've just put on so much weight.
Yeah, I hear you, lovely. Well, you're in the right place. We're going to talk. There will be aspects of natural and lasting weight loss in this talk, but then tomorrow we're going to use it as a priority. Tomorrow we're going to prioritize that in the conversation. The whole bit about why we gain weight in the way we're eating in this, the way we're being fed in this modern world, and the pressures on us from the diet industry and the pressures on us from the fitness industry, plus the constant. We're going to talk about the food industry and how that's got a grip on us. So it's all, see what you think about what we're talking about today, and then join us again tomorrow for more of an emphasis on the weight release. So welcome, Davinder. Lovely to have you with us, and completely resonate with everything that you've said there. It was exactly the same for me. I would love to invite David Antamba. Hello, David. I know that you follow me avidly on Facebook. Would you like to say why you're here? Because my typical demographic tends to be women 40 plus. So would you like to say what it is that you're interested in?
Hello, I really greet you all today. I had to be with you today, but unfortunately, I got some work I had to do with our academy children. So as you are seeing, I'm from training them on the way going back home. Maybe I will join you tomorrow.
All right, my dear. Well, thank you for following me avidly and for being here and introducing yourself. I'll let you get back to the children, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow.
And thank you for the wonderful session you are taking in with us.
Very lovely. Thank you, and nice to see you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's just there we go. I just wanted to welcome David because he, in fact, I hadn't realized that it was David Nantamba. I'd assumed it was a woman following me, but I just wanted to say a warm welcome because he likes so many of my Facebook posts and shares. So that's lovely. Everybody, let me start by sharing my slides and we'll get cracking. So I'm just going to share screen, and you can all let me know whether you can see the right screen. Okay, let me just do that. Okay, can you see my screen, everybody? That's great. Okay, So this is me. And I've met most of you in the room, but just in case anybody is, for those who are on replay that maybe have not met me before, just a quick introduction. Oh, my age has gone up by one since then. And it was my birthday in August, a couple of weeks ago, and I celebrated my birthday in Amsterdam, which was absolutely fabulous. But I do a lot of traveling, lover of life. You know, this is me in Paris on a Vespa. I was just in Amsterdam on a riverboat. And then this weekend, I was in the Cotswolds on a paddleboard. And I just love to get everywhere doing fun activities, you know. I love the freedom of that. That is so important to me. Freedom is more important to me than anything else. And, you know, I got my family, my teenagers. Ruby, my 17-year-old, passed her driving test yesterday. So that is all changed now. So, you know, typical mum to teenagers, but also so important to me to stay young in my body, in my appearance, and in my health, because I got so much life to live. Yeah, I've done a lot of fun things, but I've got so many more things that I want to do, you know, so many more places I want to see, experiences I want to have. And I love spending time with friends. I love playing games. I love socializing, singing, and I love food. So historically, when I've tried to diet, it's made me miserable. You know, I really hated dieting. I couldn't do it. It didn't work for me. And I just found it miserable. So when I found this program that I'm going to describe to you, it changed everything, because it's not dieting. It's just about making some changes and embedding those changes. Yeah. So that was 2020. So that's now 5 years ago. And I did release a couple of dress sizes, which was life-changing. It was £20. But what I hadn't realized was how much better I was going to feel as a result of changing the way I ate. I didn't know that the solution was there for the joint pain, the stiffness, the fatigue, not to mention allergies improved, skin improved, acid reflux went away. What else? There's a whole host of things. Even my hair grew back. I started to go a little bit thin in my 40s, and I was thinking, gosh, you know, am I going to lose my hair? But I will say now my hair is as good as it's ever been. You know, I don't have particularly thick hair, but it was worrying me back then, 10 years ago. And now my hair is absolutely fine again, normal. And eyelashes even grew back. All kinds of things improved. And so I just love this program so much. I thought everybody needs to know about this. Why doesn't the whole world know about this? That it's the way we're eating. And I realized that the reason is because we are being manipulated by the food industry into making them money. And health, and then they start selling things as healthy products. This is good for you, this is healthy, but that's just a whole marketing thing as well. And you will see on the coming slides why it is there's no money in health. And that's why we're all being kept unwell. So I went on to become a coach, and I'm now one of 11 master coaches worldwide certified to teach this revolutionary method. Since then, my numbers have gone up as well. I've got nearly 300 people that I have helped through this program with incredible results. Every single person that comes through this program gets amazing results. It's not like some people do and some people don't. Everybody gets results. So a little bit about my history, just super quickly. I was an overachiever, very busy, loved my food and drink, always have, overindulging. It took its toll on me. And so the fatigue was just debilitating. You know, I'd be life and soul of the party in the night, but in the daytime, I really struggled. Joint pain, stiffness, as I said, you know, the gut issues like the acid reflux, but cravings. Yeah, like I said, I tried to diet, but I couldn't actually control the way I was eating because I couldn't actually overcome the cravings for alcohol and sweet things like cake. I was an amazing cake baker. but I would, once I'd made a cake, you know, I just wouldn't know where to stop. And so the weight piled on ruthlessly over the decades, despite all my efforts. And what I now know is that I was heading for type 2 diabetes. And luckily, I'm not anymore. And both my parents have managed to reverse their type 2 diabetes as well. Oh, Rachel's just joining us as well. Let me get Rachel in the room before I continue. Welcome, Rachel. Hello, lovely to see you, darling. How are you?
Sorry, I'm fine, thank you. I'm so sorry I'm a little late.
That's all right, no problem at all. I'm glad you made it. We're just getting started with the introduction, so I know that you haven't missed anything.
Perfect, thank you.
Well done for being here. So everybody, just to show you the transformation or the difference in me between sort of 5, 10, 15 years ago and me since 5 years ago, since 2020. So the afternoon slump is pretty much gone. I know how to get it back. I know how to get all these symptoms back. If I start eating off plan a lot of the time, I can definitely deviate without getting my symptoms back, as I have this weekend. But if I deviate a lot over a period of a week or more, then I will get the symptoms back. So it is absolutely directly related to the way I'm eating, and having that freedom is brilliant, because I'm in control now. I can indulge and pay the consequences, or I can be at my best. And so we get to choose. When you've experienced how good it's possible to feel, you have the freedom to decide where you want to sit on that sliding scale between maximizing how great you feel and, you know, managing your weight really well, and then indulging. So what we do is we create what I call the food freedom plan, which allows you to have the conscious gastronomy, the food experiences, the drink experiences that you really want, but in a conscious way that doesn't bring back the symptoms. So best of both worlds. And that is what I would say I'm living now, because I've had a little bit of an indulgent summer, Amsterdam, and then weekend away with the hubby, and we've had a couple of pub meals and a few drinks, and some cake has been had, you know, all the normal things. But I'm not out of control. I'm back on it today with my, you know, my reset strategy, and that feels really great to be back on it. And it's very, very different from dieting. So that's all the different things that I gained. And then what I hadn't realized until I did this program, that actually the answer wasn't a diet or the latest fad or gimmick or the latest protein shake or supplements. I was looking for everything. You know, do I need supplements? Do I need meal replacements? Should I take this latest weight loss drug? You know, and that's all the rage now, isn't it? But then when I did this program, and in 90 days I saw all those benefits, it hit me, and the answer was so beautiful, because the answer was actually nature. And that is so important to me, to have learned that actually the answer is not the latest gimmick or fad, but the answer was actually a relearning of all the things that nature is providing for us. So then I realized that the reason for my weight gain and all the symptoms I was experiencing and the low energy is because we are eating in a way that is very unnatural to the human body. And when I learned this, it just made so much sense. So the why is it? Why is it this to do with the natural way of eating? And why, you know, why is that so relevant in everything I'm saying? Symptoms, weight loss, energy. Well, if you have a look at this and think of it in terms of the way all the species on the planet evolved, yeah, you know, lions and tigers and bears and sheep and parrots and ants and mice and humans, every single species has evolved over hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, to eat in the way nature provided in its natural habitat. Yeah. So now all these species have a fixed diet that is right for them, and it's very, very different. Beavers eat wood. You know, it's very, very different. There's nutrients in wood, but humans can't eat wood because just because there's nutrients in it. So they're very, very different diets. And what happens, it's so significant how the species eat, that when you take any species, an elephant or a tiger or whatever, and you put it in captivity and you try to feed it in an artificial way, the lifespan of that animal, this is the case study of the elephant, 60 years down to 17 years. And why is that? It's because the elephant now develops unnatural chronic ailments like arthritis. The elephants suffer terribly with arthritis in their feet. Obesity, you wouldn't think of it. Elephants, you think of them as being obese. They're fat. No, they're not. But they develop obesity when they're put into captivity. And another significant thing for animals in captivity, as I think most of us know from zoos and that kind of thing, is mental ill health. Now, I would just like to draw the similarities with the human race. I haven't got my human race slide there, but, you know, arthritis, obesity, mental ill health. Does that ring any bells? You know, it's very similar to what happens to us humans when we are fed in a way that is not right for us. So let's just have a little look at this. You know, we're talking about supermarket aisles where everything's in a colourful box or packet or jar. And so, you know, not even to mention the junk food. We know the junk food's no good for us, but what about the normal food on the supermarket aisles? Well, it's all the way we are being fed in this modern world. So largely when we make choices now about how am I going to eat, it's largely based on what's available on the shelves, right? Not what would nature have chosen for me. So we're kind of being fed in captivity, if you like. And what are the typical symptoms that we experience as a result of this? These are modern day symptoms, modern day illnesses that you wouldn't have seen, you know, going back decades when we were eating more aligned with nature. Joint pain and stiffness, we talked a lot about. Inflammation, things like inflammatory conditions like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I see that a lot, particularly in teenagers and young adults. IBS, Crohn's, diverticulitis. My mum suffers terribly with diverticulitis, but when I can get her eating on plan, her symptoms ease. So all kinds of digestive disorders. Devinder already mentioned high blood pressure, and we got type 2 diabetes and all the symptoms of perimenopause. Now, perimenopause we know is hormone related. Yes, of course it is. But what I didn't realize was that although the hormones make us more sensitive, the symptoms are triggered by food. So you've got the hormone side of things and you've got the food side of things, both exacerbating those symptoms. And some people manage to control their symptoms through hormone control. And what I'm here to tell you is that to a large extent, to a surprisingly large extent, we can control those symptoms with food, with our food choices. So for some people, a combination of the food choices and the hormone supplements is the perfect strategy. Asthma, fibromyalgia, and then of course the mental ill health, the burnout, the low mood, the depression, the anxiety. We see a lot of that exacerbated in perimenopause as well, but of course it's also becoming more and more common in our young people. So it's, and I now know that to be significantly related to the way we're eating. I now know this to be true because I've seen it time and time again. And I've coached whole families, including teenagers, who've seen incredible shifts in their mental health and well-being. Why is it, though? Why is it that the food has such a profound effect on the way we feel, on our symptoms? Well, this slide just attempts to, in a very light touch way, to explain why that could be. And there's three main mechanisms, shall we say, by which it affects the body. So the first thing is, when we start to eat the right way, we get all our nutritional needs met. Now, as the human, with the natural human diet requirement, we have thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of nutritional requirements that we're only just starting to understand. And we try and synthesize those by, suggesting supplements. But when we're eating in the way that our ancestors would have eaten, we get all our nutritional needs met naturally through food. It's slightly harder these days because of depletion of things like magnesium in our soil. And so sometimes it will be necessary to supplement. And if anybody isn't taking magnesium at the moment, I would highly recommend looking into taking magnesium supplements. It's the one supplement that we tend to suggest on the program. Everything else we believe we can get through our food. And vitamin D from sunlight. So nutritional needs met is the key, first key. The next thing is stabilizing those blood sugars, and blood sugar levels are not only responsible for things like type 2 diabetes, they're also responsible for mood, mental well-being, and would you believe the inflammatory conditions like joint pain and stiffness? Blood sugar is directly responsible for triggering inflammation. So now it starts to make sense, right? Why it has such a significant effect on so many symptoms. And then finally, and this is the big one that is all the rage these days, the gut microbiome. I think most people know now, don't they, that we've got like a few kilograms of gut microbiota in our gut, in our intestines, that keep us healthy. And when we're feeding those gut bacteria incorrectly, then they get out of balance and they make us unwell. And they also trigger cravings. So when we feed in the gut in a really healthy way, which is basically all natural foods, the gut's happy, and the gut is central to our health, not just our physical health, but our mental health. So there's 3 incredibly significant factors there which help you understand why it is that the way we eat is so important. And I think scientists are only still very recently realizing this. The doctors largely still don't know it, because doctors are not taught about nutrition. I think it's starting to change now because they're starting to realize just how significant this stuff is. But you won't get this information from the NHS. And because they're not taught it yet, they're way behind. It's one of the things that takes a long time to catch up. So I've just put a chart there of things that increase, things that decrease. Energy, focus, clarity, sleep, mood, immunity, fitness, body composition, skin, and your desire to eat well, because the gut controls your appetite and your cravings. And then the things that we expect to decrease, things like chronic inflammation, joint pain, stiffness, the brain fog, the hot flushes, headaches. Anybody suffer with headaches? Or yeah, I know, Angela, you used to, didn't you, Angela? Yeah, quite a lot. And there's been a huge success with overcoming migraine headaches, because turns out they're triggered by certain foods as well. And of course, weight release as a side effect, as a natural side effect of just getting the food right. Yeah, you don't need to diet. You don't need to count calories. You just need to get the food right. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. So let me ask you, my darlings, I've got a few of you in the room now. What is it for you? Who would like to share? Sam, Rachel, Mary, Julie, Devinda, Melinda. How is it for you? What is your, what are your symptoms? Is it the energy? Is it the joint stiffness? Is it the gut? A couple of you have already shared why you're here, but has anybody got anything else to, but in the light of what I've shared about food triggering your symptoms, any reflections so far? Rachel?
Yeah, I'd say I pretty much have all of those. I feel to some extent, some more than others.
Which ones do you think cause you grief?
Probably the gut disorder.
Yeah. What sort of gut symptoms do you get, lovely?
Well, I don't know. The doctors decided it was like Crohn's, it was like ulcerative colitis, and it was neither.
Yeah, well, it's hard to diagnose sometimes, isn't
Yeah,
it?
something in between those. But it's hard to differentiate, isn't it, which ones are menopausal and which ones aren't. And it's also you know that some foods trigger things, but then in the speed of being busy or the stress of work, which also triggers, then it
Yeah.
all happens at the same time. It's hard to pick out which things which, isn't it?
Exactly. It is. It's just layers. And it's not like you can actually go, oh, if I could just give up that or just add in that, I'd be so much better. Okay, on the program that I coach, we could take it down to 5 simple changes, but it's 5, so whereas I think the medical profession want an easy answer. Well, I'll give you this medication, or maybe but actually it's a holistic approach that's needed. And it just makes sense, doesn't it? There's a few things that we need to get right before we start making a difference. And so this is why it's so important to have a complete overhaul. So when you go through this complete overhaul, what you'll find is everything will improve. You won't get complete relief from every single symptom, but you're going to feel better, you're going to sleep better, your energy is going to be better, and a lot of your symptoms will improve dramatically. We can never guarantee exactly what's going to improve for different people, but everybody loves their results. So when you get to the deepest reset part of this program, you're feeling at your best. And then that gives you that platform on which to start testing things. So that's when you can get really specific, actually. And you can go, right, so now that I'm in this cleanest state I've ever been and feeling so amazing, and the weight is coming off and my energy's great, what would happen if I started eating chocolate cake again? Which is what I do occasionally. Actually, it's not chocolate cake these days. It's my husband's amazing banana loaf, which is better than any chocolate cake. And there's no added sugar. It's just sultanas and bananas. Amazing. But when I do start introducing a lot of sweet stuff again, I know that my gut starts complaining and my joints start complaining. So it's about mastery. Then you can start to master, well, just what I can get away with and what can I not. So it's not like you need to live your life as a purist to live symptom free, but it is about having a complete overhaul to start with, so that you've got this kind of clean platform on which to test and try things. We call it experimentation. So yeah, well done. Thanks for sharing, Rachel. Anybody else want to share before I carry on? Okie dokie. Angela?
Yeah, I'd just say, because I've had some really emotional stuff going on this summer, and I have taken my eye off the eating, but I was really, really aware of it. So my son had a serious accident in Australia, so I had to travel to Australia at very, very short notice, and then sat with him in the dark. He had a brain injury. I sat with him in the dark for a week, weeks on end. And we did eat a lot of what I would say was not my normal food. And I found it in my joints. I could feel it almost like the next day or that night that things weren't as good as they could have been. So yeah, it's really, really, everything you do makes you so aware of the impact that it has on your body, because you now know what you're looking for. And I think that's something that really, really is a great benefit of what we do with Sue on the program. So it's about turning my mindset back into getting it all together. But having said that, I was away for nearly 4 weeks, and came back and struggled with bereavement as well. So I've not done too badly, really, but I do want to just here for some love to see if I can bring it all back, because I am finding that I'm here on my own, and I'm not focusing as well as I could be. So
yeah, I hear you, lovely, and thank you so much for sharing. But I think
it just makes you so aware of it.
That's
And
exactly
I say that to people, you know, that I work with. You just make it aware, make yourself so aware of what the impact is.
It
And
creates this new sense of wisdom, doesn't it?
Mm,
Whereas
mm.
before, a lot of us just felt lost, didn't
Yeah.
know how we were meant to be eating, what was causing our symptoms, trying to get a diagnosis, trying to lose weight, turn into coffee and sugar to get more energy. And it's just so confusing and overwhelming, and you don't know where to start with it all. Whereas what you're describing, having been through the program, is you know exactly what causes what, but sometimes you can't be 100%. And so
No.
if you have 4 weeks where you're eating off plan, your symptoms are going to come back, but you know what it is you're doing. You know that you're free to choose, and you're free to come back to much more aligned because you want to.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, because it feels so much better. That's the thing. And you have so much
exactly
more
it.
energy.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Brilliant. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for sharing. I've got a slide with you on coming up. I hope that's all right.
Yeah.
I hope that's all right. I got a slide
Fine.
with you. Didn't know you were going to come, but I've always got a slide with you on. So everybody, let me just share again, just quickly. Which one is it? This window. So what is the impact of the pain points on your personal life? You know, with the joint pain, with the gut issues, does it affect you carrying out the activities you love? Does it affect how well you engage with the family? Does it affect what you can and can't do, especially those of us who've got grandchildren? Sometimes people say to me, I'd love to be able to get down on the floor and deal with the baby or the kids or the toddlers or even the dog, you know. Does it mean that you feel like you're waiting for things to improve before you can start getting the most out of life? You know, if you've got your list of things that you love to do, but you just can't at the moment. And then for some of us, is it about, you know, that when we look in the mirror, and we're talking more about that tomorrow, but the weight and the appearance side of things, is it just not feeling you are the true you? It's not so much, it's not superficial and it's not vain. It's you look in the mirror and you know that's not me, that's not who I'm meant to be. I'm carrying this extra weight, and I know that there's a much better version of myself that's not carrying all this extra weight. That's how I felt. It was an identity thing. I wanted to be the truest, healthiest, most vibrant version of me. So if you could become that, what difference would it make? What difference would it make to your life, to your families, to your satisfaction, to your enjoyment? And who else would benefit from seeing you at your happiest and healthiest? Who else would absolutely love to see that vital and healthy you? And what difference would it make to them? Maybe that's your kids, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your friends. Just really long for that for you. And then the final question I'd love to ask you is, what other areas of your life? So are you in business? If you run your own business, how would that be impacted if you could realize your greatest potential? Would anybody like to share at that point? What would change for you? Who would be, who would love that for you? Do feel free to use the chat if you don't want to share on the microphone. I should have said, I didn't really do the logistics, but I should have said that we are recording this for replay. Is everybody happy with me doing that? I'm recording for replay. Excellent, thank you. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to wrap it up very, very soon. I'm just going to show you a few case studies. So what's needed here is, yes, understanding how we're meant to be eating, but that's just the what. The big question is how. And so it's so important that we make changes knowing our own psychology. Because when you're just told, eat like this, like they do on a diet or any health plan, here's how to eat, go. It doesn't work. And what's needed is a completely new approach. Okay, and what's needed is a strategy that works, tried and tested, where we implement one step at a time, one doable change at a time, and in the right order, so that you feel, oh, yeah, I can do this, and it's made me feel better. So when you've made one change that was very doable and you feel better, guess what? You're going to be motivated to make the next change. That's how it works. And then you start to rewire the old programming. Ah, interesting. This is how I eat to feel better. We forget about weight loss, right? Weight loss is going to happen as a natural side effect, but we don't try to lose weight because there's all the wrong motivation. Where we need to focus to make it easier when it gets a little bit more challenging is we need to focus on self-care and self-compassion, because when we're constantly trying to rely on willpower and constantly just trying to follow a plan that we don't really understand if it's going to work for us and why we're doing this, why we're being asked to make these changes, it's confusing, it's hard, it doesn't resonate. But when you are asked to focus on your self-care, self-compassion, compassionately finding solutions to cravings and emotional eating, compassionately nourishing yourself with foods that feel good in your body, and compassionately guiding you through making new habits, creating new habits, because sometimes new habits aren't easy to pick up, are they? And sometimes we don't want to eat in a certain way. So having that compassionate approach, okay, if you don't want to eat in this way, let's see if we can find something that you do want that is going to help you get all the right nourishment inside you. So it's always about being positive, compassionate, flexible, and just guiding you towards this new sense of this new knowledge, this new sense of wisdom, which you will get when you feel those changes in your body. And one of the things that we need to work on in the psychology framework is releasing guilt, because how many of us spend a lot of time going, oh, what's the matter with me? I've done it again. I can't seem to stick to anything. I've got no willpower. I had a plan, I didn't stick to it. And it's this constant, we're going round in circles, and it's this constant failure, guilt, regret. And all of that is what's keeping us stuck. So my job is to break that cycle, to release you from guilt, regret, disappointment. And instead of those thoughts of guilt, analytical. We're going to get analytical about it, right? What is it I'm craving? Why is that? What can I do about it? Solution focused. Okay. So it's always positive, always solution focused. And that is ultimately where the reprogramming will come from. So let's just quickly move to success stories, and I showcase Angela's because she is here. Thank you so much for being here, Angela. But well done. Oh, that's you're wearing what is it you're wearing? The same top in that photo. It looks great. Look at you in those jeans. Brilliant, brilliant outfit. So I know you won't mind me saying that before you'd released some weight before, but you released another 16 pounds on the program, and then more since, because you've been following it really, you've been really embedding this in your life and enjoying it. But I think, tell it your way, Angela, but it was when you'd lost the weight, you knew you needed to do something with the food psychology and the healthy eating. You tell it your way, love.
Yeah, I am going to have to go in a minute. I've got a client at 2, but the big thing for me is mindset and valuing my own body and knowing what I'm doing for myself is the most wonderful thing to do for me, because I'm worth it, if you like. If I'm not putting the right things in, I'm not getting the right feelings out, and that's the just what happens on Sue's program, and it really is quite life-changing. Well, it's not quite life-changing, it is life-changing, because you just feel that you know what you're doing, and that's about all I can say, really. It's just great.
Thank you so much.
In a nutshell.
huge congratulations on all your success, and thank you. Thank
But
you.
as I said, you know, it is about mindset, and I know I'm an emotional eater, and I know that, you know, this summer has caused me lots of emotional eating issues, but I'm very aware of it, and I'm, you know, I'm working on it every day, but not beating myself up about it and not feeling guilty. So yeah,
Yes,
keep
that's
on
what
it.
it's all
Just
about.
keeping on it. But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm still wearing those jeans. It's just that I just feel a little bit more sluggish, and there's the odd craving. I mean, I'm still craving like dark chocolate or dried fruit or nuts, but I've got things that I want to sort of, you know, think about again and stuff like
The
that.
kinds of things you crave these days are very different from the things you craved a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but I still love making cake. That's still my downfall, but I do that when I'm feeling emotional, but I give it away.
Yeah.
But I do have a little bit here and there, but
Well,
yeah.
this is it. It's about having a little bit and knowing
And
that that's okay.
yeah, and finding different ways of, like you say, with no sugar and no gluten and no dairy and all those sorts of things within my diet to try and keep the inflammation down. So
it's knowing what causes the inflammation in your body that you've got to stay on top of, and it's different for everybody.
but thank you. Thanks for
you.
being here. I am going to have to go because I've got a client in a minute.
I'll let you go, love. Thanks for being here. And
Bye.
see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, Angela is such a glowing example. And it's not just Angela, got so many success stories like that. You know, everybody has their own little success. So I want to share with you, okay, a little bit about the program that I coach then. I've talked a little bit about it, but it's about getting properly nourished. I think you get the gist of that now. But it's getting properly nourished in a way that is not only doable, but is actually accurate for the human body. A lot of the time, healthy eating programs give us a whole load of stuff that humans are not meant to eat. You will be surprised. The things that they tell us to eat are not good for us at all. And you don't need to take my word for it. You'll know, because you'll know from your own experience. When we swap those foods for better foods, you will feel it. So you don't need to believe anything anymore. Your body will tell you. That's probably one of the key messages, I think, to get across. One doable step at a time, I've mentioned. Feel better with every positive change. Never go hungry. Now, this is important. It's not about eating less, my darlings. It's not about portion control. When you are eating well, really, really well, the body will tell you when to stop eating. You can't overeat a good diet. So it's not about eating less or counting calories or going hungry. Yes, fasting is a good thing to do, and we will address the issue of fasting, but not until you've been on the program at least 2 months, maybe more. Fasting is a healthy practice. Going hungry is not. Okay, very different. And also it's about integrating it with the family, because if we can't do that, you'll never stick to it. It's got to be about making it doable so that the kids, the partner, whoever else you're feeding or is feeding you, in not just in the home, but in other environments, we've got to make it fit. So it's got to be the strategies, real food that other people can, you know, enjoy and embrace as well. And we've got to have the convenience factor. If it's a pain in the arse, nobody's going to do it, right? We've got to make it easy, simple. I am the queen of grab and go. I will teach you exactly how to make this easy and efficient. And actually, the amount of people think that to eat healthy, they've got to spend longer prepping food. Actually, there's a little bit more food prep involved to start with, but in due course, you will find that you're spending less time thinking about food, less time shopping, because it becomes so much more simple than you ever imagined. I've talked about all that. I think the only thing I haven't mentioned on that slide is the individual personalized approach. Yes, this 90-day program is everybody goes through the same program, but everybody has their own experience on the program. And so when people have their own individual challenges, that's when you need this individual personalized approach. Because when somebody presents with a challenge like, oh, I'm struggling this week because I'm addicted to that, or I'm struggling because the kids won't eat that, or I really am feeling a little bit emotional and lost without my chocolate or ice cream, whatever it is, that's when we need to come up with personal, individual strategies specifically for you. So that's what the coaching is all about, is guiding you with all your challenges and all your different likes and dislikes and family situations and work situations and everything else, is guiding you through that in a way that makes it doable for you as an individual. And without that, it's really hard to follow any kind of program. So you've met Angela. Here's a few other clients out of the 300 that I've coached so far. You may recognize a few faces there. I always get everybody to do a screenshot with their top win at the end of the cohort. So we've got, it's not always about weight release. Sometimes it's about energy. Sometimes it's about food relationship. Food is no longer in control. D is 70. After 90 days, I feel well, lighter and 10 years younger. And that's what I'm all about, feeling young. You know, there's a lot of talking, you know, a lot of money being made out of keeping us looking young, isn't there? Skincare and facelifts and whatever else. I'm all about feeling young. Yeah, it's about feeling young for longer and having the health and the longevity to live a more joyful life as we start to age. £22. So the average weight release on the program is £20. If anybody, if that is a thing for you, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Justine, I've selected Justine for this because her symptoms were debilitating. She didn't join for weight release, although she was very delighted to release £38. That wasn't the driving factor. It was the pain. She'd had an injury many years ago, a back injury, but the pain from that injury was still debilitating, and she was struggling to even get out of bed. It took her 20 minutes of maneuvering and stretching, and 20 minutes to get out of bed in the mornings. And now she just gets out of bed. Very different. The pain reduced because the inflammation in her body reduced. And I dare say some of the weight that she was carrying was exacerbating that as well. So she's got more energy, glowing skin, and the huge boost in self-confidence. And I know that she's feeling so much more alive, and she's, you know, cycling with her daughter and all kinds of things now that she wanted to do on her bucket list. This is Barb. Another 70-year-old actually, feeling sexy and vibrant now at 70 because she released £40. But it's the aches and pains, you know, she was constantly tired. She felt creaky when she got out of bed, and she couldn't understand it because she was already eating the so-called Mediterranean diet. So she thought she was doing everything. But the changes we made on this are what made the difference. And then Ollie was suffering with debilitating joint pain as a result of perimenopause. She was also suffering really bad sleep. She was sleeping maybe 2 hours a night. And she's, you know, now she's sleeping through the night. No pain, no stiffness. And feeling more in control around food, and a massive increase in energy. So there we go. And Donna, I could go on and on and on. Donna, fibromyalgia, COPD, diabetes, and Donna really got her life back. I mean, she had so many symptoms, but everything improved. So, and I coach men as well. So Wendy, I'm going to just come straight to the final slide because I kept you long enough, my darlings. So the program that I coach, if it is something that you are curious about, then jump on a call with me and we can talk it through. You know, it's not a hard sell, but I can tell you more about it. And I can tell you more about, based on what's going on for you, what you can expect to achieve in 90 days. So if you're interested in the group cohort, I coach 4 group cohorts per year. And the next one is on the 22nd of September. So that's 3 weeks yesterday. So less than 3 weeks before we kick off. We can find out if it's a good fit for you, and I can give you a really good idea of what you can expect to achieve on that. So it graduates before Christmas. So if that's a motivating factor for you, you know, September sometimes feels like a good reset. Kids are back in school, that kind of thing. Just reach out. and let's have an informal chat. Yes, early bird bonuses. I always put this on the site to encourage people to book a call with me sooner rather than later, because I do run out of time. But if you do decide to book that call, do it ASAP, and I'll gift you a free VIP coaching session if you join the program. So my darlings, any questions? So, Melinda, Rachel, Sam, stay till the end. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Did you take anything away from this today?
I'm ready now, Sue. That's
Go, girl. Jump on a call.
definitely. So yeah, how do I book that call with you?
Right, so just reach out. But what I'll do is I'll put the
Should I just send you a...
You send me an email, a message, but I've just put a link in. If you want to just click the link and just book your space in my calendar, you can do that.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to speak to you about this, because I really want,
you wanted me to do it last year, and I thought, I can't, I'm too busy.
Well, now is the time.
I am so ready now. Perfect.
Oh, that's great to hear, love. I
Thanks
can't
so
wait
much
about it. Yeah, well done.
It's the time.
I'll see you soon, darling.
Looking forward to it. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Bye,
Bye,
darling. So
Thank
thanks, lovely to see you, Melinda. Lovely to see you, Sam. Don't forget to join me tomorrow, and we'll talk more about the principles of lasting weight release without dieting. We'll talk about cravings. We'll talk about emotional eating, that kind of thing. And Sam, lovely to see you. I know you're not on camera at the moment, but I hope you've got something out of it today. Thanks, everybody, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Bye.